The storm had rolled in faster than any sky Elias Cade had ever seen. One moment the plains were calm under a pale winter sun, the next, the horizon darkened with a wall of white so thick it looked like a mountain rising from the earth. By the time Elias realized what was coming, it was too late. The blizzard slammed into him with the force of a runaway horse, freezing air ripping into his lungs, snow slicing across his face like shards of broken glass. He pulled his sheepskin coat tighter, but the cold was merciless tonight, angry, alive, hunting. Even the strongest fabric felt like nothing more than wet paper against its bite. Elias kept one hand pressed against his side, where blood soaked through the hole in his shirt and coat. The bullet had gone clean through, but clean didn't mean harmless. Every step sent a bolt of fire burning up his ribs, and the cold only made the pain sharper, more vicious. His horse had tried its best. The loyal old Mustang named Flint had carried him through the worst storms before, but this one broke even the bravest beast. Flint stumbled, legs trembling under the weight of the wind and snow. Elias dismounted to lighten the load, but the moment his boots hit the ground, the world swayed. Flint collapsed moments later, softly, almost apologetically, like a creature surrendering to fate. Elias knelt beside him, stroking his muzzle as the horse's breath fogged weakly in the air. "Easy, boy, easy," Elias whispered, though he knew nothing about the night would be easy anymore. When Flint's breathing slowed and finally stopped, the silence of the plains swallowed the cowboy whole. Elias bowed his head. He had lost partners before, men, horses, friends, but losing Flint in this wasteland hid an old, hidden place in his chest he didn't know still had feeling left. He closed the horse's eyes with a shaking hand, then gathered what strength he had left and forced himself upright. He looked around, squinting through the storm. The land he knew like the lines of his own palms was unrecognizable, every shape erased, every landmark buried beneath drifting white. But he remembered something. A cabin, isolated, forgotten, rarely used. Some hunter's old winter shelter. He had seen it once years ago, on a summer ride when the land was green and forgiving. Was it half a mile from here? More, less, he didn't know, but he had no other chance. He leaned into the wind and kept moving. The blizzard punished him for every step he took. Snow curled around him, pulling him back. The wind screeched in his ears, mocking him, telling him to lie down and let the cold take him. And part of him, exhausted, bleeding, freezing, almost listened. But the rest of him, the stubborn part that had survived more near-death nights than he could count, refused to surrender. He fought forward, step by brutal step, boots sinking in drifts up to his knees. His breath felt like knives. His vision blurred. He tasted metal in his mouth, blood, maybe. He no longer felt his fingers. His hands were stiff, barely obeying his commands. Not yet, he muttered to himself. Not tonight. The landscape twisted and warped around him, shapes forming and dissolving in the howl of wind. He couldn't tell if he was walking straight or in circles. He couldn't tell if he was crossing open land or climbing small hills made entirely of snow. The world had become white noise and pain. Then it happened. A faint light flickered ahead. Just a speck at first. Barely visible, so small he thought it was a trick of dying eyes. He blinked, rubbed his frozen lashes, squinted through the storm. There it was again, weak, fading, but real. A cabin. His breath caught, a sharp, painful gasp that burned his frozen lungs. He forced himself to move faster, though his body screamed in protest. His legs trembled like they might collapse under him at any moment. The snow around him blurred. The light grew closer, then disappeared as the wind shifted, then appeared again as he dragged his wounded body onward. Finally, he saw the dark shape of the cabin's walls. A roof weighed down by snow. A chimney with a thin stream of smoke curling upward. Smoke. Someone was inside. The revelation almost broke him. He stumbled forward, boots slipping on ice hidden beneath snow. His vision dimmed. The world tilted. He tried to grab the doorframe but missed. His shoulders slammed into the wooden wall, and he nearly slid to his knees. "Damn, hold on," he whispered to himself, though his lips were too cold for the words to come out clearly. He reached for the handle. His fingers didn't close around it, they were too numb. He tried again, forcing the muscles to work. They barely responded. With a groan of pain and desperation, he threw his weight against the door. It burst open with a crack, slamming into the wall inside. Warmth hit him like a blow. Real warmth. Fire warmth. Human warmth. He staggered forward, half blind, half frozen, blood loss roaring in his ears like a second storm. The firelight danced in strange shapes around him, shadowy and golden. He heard a startled gasp, soft, feminine, and the sound both comforted him and confused him. He tried to speak. What came out was a broken rasp. Help. Then the world lurched sideways. His knees gave out. He collapsed onto the wooden floor, breath coming in ragged bursts. The fire's heat kissed his skin, but too faintly, too far away. Hands touched him, warm hands, frantic hands, gentle hands. A woman's voice, shaken with shock and something like disbelief, whispered urgently. Elias, Elias, oh God, lie still. I've got you, I've got you. He knew that voice. Somewhere deep in the fog of fading consciousness, he recognized it. A memory stirred, of summer grass, of laughter, of a girl whose heart he once believed he wasn't worthy of. But the storm finally claimed the last of his strength, and Elias Cade sank into darkness, held up by arms he had never expected to find again in the middle of a night that tried to kill him.